Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive today, all about strategic planning. I know you're all busy people, so we're going to make this efficient and insightful. We're diving into Gartner's IT Executive Toolkit for strategic planning. But don't worry, this isn't just for the tech folks out there. Whether you're managing a team, launching a project, or just looking to step up your strategic game in general, the ideas in here are universally applicable.
Yeah, that's a great point. This toolkit isn't about rigid formulas. It's about building a strategic mindset that you can adapt to any situation.
Perfect. So, this toolkit highlights 5 best practices. And one stat that really jumped out at me was that 79% of CEOs are expected to revamp their business strategies by the end of 2024. Whoa, that's a huge wave of change coming. So knowing how to navigate it is more crucial now than ever.
Absolutely. And you know what's really interesting about this is that it's not just about responding to those disruptions. It's about proactively shaping the future. And these best practices actually give you a framework to do just that.
Okay, so let's unpack that first best practice. Verify the business context. Sounds simple enough, but I have a feeling there's more to it than meets the eye.
You're telling me it's not just about understanding your own goals. It's about deeply understanding the enterprise mission, the C-level vision, and how your piece fits into that big picture.
Right, and the toolkit provides this conversation guide to help with that alignment. One question that stood out to me was, what are the top 3 things that keep your CEO up at night? If we can answer that question, it suddenly puts our own work in a whole new light.
It totally does. I mean, that one question can expose hidden misalignments or assumptions we might not even realize we're making. Suddenly, you're not just completing tasks, you're actually solving the CEO's biggest problems.
Now, that's impact.
Yeah.
Beyond internal alignment. The toolkit emphasizes understanding external factors as well, what your competitors, clients, and investors are all up to. I guess even the most brilliant plan is useless if it ignores the real world.
Precisely. It's about being aware of the forces that are shaping your industry. The toolkit provides some frameworks for trend spotting and scenario planning, but those might sound a bit theoretical. So let's ground this with a real-world example. Let's say you're in the retail industry, and one trend you're seeing is the rise of virtual shopping experience.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's everywhere now.
Right. Now, the toolkit suggests using the Tapestra framework to analyze these trends across 7 crucial dimensions. So with virtual shopping, let's consider the T for technological. What advancements are driving this trend? Then the E for economic. How is this impacting consumer spending and business models? And so on.
I see how that one trend suddenly expands into this multifaceted analysis. It's not just about noticing the trend, it's about understanding all the ripple effects it has across your whole business.
Exactly. And then, based on that analysis, you can start thinking about your footprint and foothold. Your footprint is your current market position, your stores, your online presence, your brand. But the foothold, that's how you strategically expand that based on the trends you've analyzed. Maybe you invest in augmented reality shopping tools, or you partner with a virtual platform.
So spotting trends is just step 1.
Yeah.
It's what you do with that insight that determines your success. But realistically, we can't chase every single trend, right? There's got to be a way to prioritize.
And that's where the 2x2 framework comes in. It helps you plot trends based on their potential impact and likelihood. You and your business partners can then agree on which ones are the most critical, the ones that need immediate action, versus those that might be interesting but not worth derailing your current plans for.
Okay, so we've deeply understood the context, both internal and external. Where do we go from here?
Well, once you know where your organization is heading, you need to look inward and assess your own function's ability to deliver on those goals. That brings us to step 2. Assess your function's capabilities. And that's where things get really interesting, because this is where we get brutally honest with ourselves about what we're good at and where we might need to, step up our game.
Yeah, honesty can be tough. But I'm all for it if it helps us get to where we want to be.
Now, the toolkit mentions this Gartner score tool for assessing capabilities. It's not just about listing what we have. It's about measuring how mature those capabilities actually are.
Right. That's a crucial distinction. You might have a social media team, for example. But are they just posting random stuff? Or are they driving real engagement and conversions? That's where the maturity level comes in. The Gartner score actually provides a framework for evaluating this across 5 levels, from basic to transformational.
Okay, so let's say we're using the Gartner score, and we discover our social media team is stuck at level 2, developing. What happens next? That's where your strategic roadmap comes in. Based on your assessment, you can pinpoint specific actions to level up that capability. Maybe it's investing in social listening tools, or providing more advanced training, or even restructuring the team. The key is to connect your capability gaps directly to your strategic goals.
Got it. So it's not just about checking boxes, it's about strategic investment. We're not just throwing money at the problem. We're making targeted improvements that directly support our big picture plan. And speaking of investments, I know we can't avoid the budget elephant in the room.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially in today's climate where every dollar counts. The toolkit emphasizes that strategic planning isn't about across-the-board cuts, but rather about reallocating resources to maximize impact.
So it's like a game of chess. You're moving your pieces strategically to get an advantage. But I imagine those conversations about shifting budget priorities, they can get a little heated.
Oh, they totally can, which is why the toolkit stresses building a strong relationship with your CFO. It's not about just presenting a wish list. It's about understanding their priorities and speaking their language. The toolkit actually provides a guide to scoping the CFO point of view, which I found really, really insightful.
Okay, so let's say I'm prepping for a budget meeting with the CFO. What kind of insights from that guide would actually help me make my case?
Well, first, understand that CFOs are typically focused on ROI and risk mitigation. So when you present an initiative, don't just talk about features or activities. Quantify the expected financial benefits and outline how you'll minimize risks.
Oh, so instead of saying, we need a new content management system, I might say, investing in this new CMS will allow us to streamline content production, saving us X dollars annually, and reducing the risk of publishing errors.
Now you're talking. And don't be afraid to use the benchmarking data they provide in the toolkit. Showing the CFO how your budget and efficiency compare to your peers can make your case even more compelling.
Yeah, a little healthy competition never hurts. Now, beyond the CFO, I imagine visualizing your budget strategy can be super helpful. Take buy-in from other stakeholders as well.
Absolutely. That's where the Gartner cost optimization framework comes in. It helps you map out each idea based on its potential benefits, costs, risks, and viability, creating this clear visual representation that stakeholders can easily understand.
It's like turning a spreadsheet into a cool infographic. I see how that would make decision-making a lot more transparent and collaborative. So we verified our context, assessed our capabilities, and tackled the budget. What's next on our strategic journey?
Well, a plan without a way to measure its success is like a ship without a compass. That brings us to the crucial step of measure your progress. This is where we choose the metrics that will actually tell us if we're moving the needle or not.
Metrics, data, dashboards. I know these are important, but
Yeah.
I'll admit they sometimes make my eyes glaze over a bit.
I hear you. But the toolkit does a great job of breaking this down. First, it clarifies the difference between measures and metrics, which can honestly be pretty confusing. Measures. Those are the big picture outcomes you're going for, like increased customer satisfaction or faster product development cycles.
Okay, so those are like the high-level goals. What about the metrics then?
Metrics are the specific data points that tell you whether you're achieving those measures. For example, if your measure is customer satisfaction, your metric might be Net Promoter Score or customer churn rate. The toolkit really emphasizes choosing SMART metrics, those that are specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time-bound.
Oh, the good old SMART framework. Makes sense to apply that here too. But how do we actually know we're choosing the right metrics, the ones that really matter?
Well, the toolkit provides this practical guide to selecting metrics, which walks you through aligning them with your strategic goals. It also introduces the Gartner Digital Execution Scorecard, which is a benchmarking tool that helps you compare your digital performance against 5 key digital priorities.
Well, that's interesting. It's like getting a report card on our digital maturity.
Exactly. It's a great way to see where you're excelling and where you might need to catch up. Now imagine you've done all this incredible work, you've crafted this brilliant strategic plan, you've got your metrics in place, you're ready to conquer the world. But then you realize you've forgotten one crucial step.
Oh, this doesn't sound good. What could we have possibly missed?
Yeah.
Oh, you got me on the edge of my seat here. What is it? What's that crucial step?
Communication. It's all about communication. All this amazing strategizing we've been talking about. It's useless if it just stays locked in our heads or buried in some massive document nobody wants to read. We have to get everyone on board and actually excited about the plan. That's where that 5th best practice comes in. Document your strategy.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But when I hear document your strategy, I'm picturing like, a 100-page sleep-inducing report. How do we avoid that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And that's exactly what this toolkit addresses. It advocates for a concise, single-page overview that really captures the essence of your strategy. They actually provide a template for this. And it's surprisingly simple and elegant.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about that template. What are the key elements that need to be on that one-pager to make it really effective?
Well, first you want to start with your clearly defined business objectives. Then you outline the capabilities you'll need to actually achieve those objectives. And then, of course, the specific strategic actions you'll take. And finally, a visual roadmap or timeline for implementation. That helps to bring the whole plan to life.
So it's like a roadmap, a battle plan, and a progress tracker all rolled into one. That's pretty powerful. I'm starting to see why keeping it to just one page is so crucial. It forces you to really distill your thinking down to the absolute essentials.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It becomes a living document, something you can easily share and discuss with stakeholders, not just a dusty binder on a shelf. And Gartner even offers an expert document review service if you're a client, so you can get feedback and make sure your plan is really top-notch.
Okay, I love that. I'm feeling much more confident about tackling this documentation piece now. But zooming out a bit, I think it's important to remember that even with the perfect plan, things change. How do we build in some flexibility and adapt as we go?
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's where having a growth mindset is essential. The toolkit reminds us that strategic planning, it's not just a one-time event. It's an ongoing process of learning and adapting. Remember all those external factors we analyzed earlier? Those can shift rapidly, so staying informed and being willing to adjust course is absolutely critical.
It's like sailing a ship.
Yeah.
You might have your destination in mind, but you need to constantly adjust your sails based on the wind and the currents.
Exactly. And part of that adjustment might involve going back and revisiting your capability assessments. Maybe you overestimated a strength, or an unforeseen weakness popped up. The toolkit encourages us to use those assessments not just at the beginning, but throughout the entire implementation of our plan.
It's like checking in with your navigation system every so often to make sure you're still on the right track. That makes sense. But beyond the external shifts, what about internal challenges? What if we run into roadblocks within our own teams or our organization?
Well, communication is key here too. Remember that single-page strategic plan we talked about? Use that as a touchstone in your regular team meetings. Celebrate those milestones, acknowledge any challenges transparently, and keep everyone focused on the big picture.
Love it. It sounds like that one-pager becomes more than just a plan. It's a tool for alignment, collaboration, and accountability.
It really is. And don't underestimate the power of celebrating those wins along the way. It just reinforces the value of strategic thinking and keeps everyone motivated to keep pushing forward.
Awesome. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive. The 5 best practices from Gartner's Toolkit, those tough questions about budget and capabilities, even the importance of communication and adapting as we go. But before we wrap up, what's the one key takeaway you really hope our listeners walk away with today?
I think the most important takeaway is that strategic planning. It's truly within everyone's reach. It doesn't require a fancy title or years and years of experience. By understanding these core principles and utilizing the tools and frameworks we've discussed, anyone can become a more strategic thinker and make a real impact.
That's inspiring. Whether you're leading a team, launching a project, or even just trying to navigate your own career path, remember that strategic thinking is a superpower you can cultivate. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Now go out there and make some strategic magic happen.